My name is Debi and I'm one of the owners down at NJWEEDMAN'S joint. I'm a nurse, a registered nurse in the state of New Jersey, and that's kind of how I came to know everybody in the cannabis community. I was a nurse at a home care agency. I was director of nursing, and this mom came and she wanted to be a nurse for her son, and her son had intractable seizure disorder. And she used cannabis to control his seizures. It was Jenny Storms and Jack's. They ended up moving out of the state of New Jersey. But before they left, Jenny had invited me to the first annual cannabis conference down in Trenton, New Jersey at the State House. So my son is, he's going to be 11 on the 20th. And he was born at 24 weeks because his mother was a cocaine user and she went into preterm labor. So he had a grade 4 bleed in his head. So he has spastic quadriplegia. He has really bad bronchopulmonary dysplasia. He has a G-tube, so he can't eat anything because he can't swallow and breathe at the same time. What else does he have, my little guy? He had a surgery for his heart, too. He had to have a patent ductus repair in his heart, and he has autism. So he was on so many drugs when I took him home, this poor baby, which I basically weaned him off everything, and they really didn't do much of anything. I worked in a long-term care facility for children, and I can tell you that they use Ativan and Valium and all these drugs, and you have to chart that they're for spasms or they're for seizures, but they're to chemically restrain children because they're easier to take care of when they're just laying there. And now you can't tie somebody up in 4-point restraints. You have to chart every 2 hours if somebody has restraints, but you can chemically restrain them. And that's what they did to my son. There was no reason for him to have Ativan 1 milligram 4 times a day. He was an infant, he was a baby. But that's all the kids there are chemically restrained. And you know what? I worked there, and I'm going to say that, and because that is the truth. I saw it. Would he benefit from cannabis? Absolutely, because it would help with his muscle spasms. It would help with his irritability. It would help him in so many ways. But I still have yet to find a doctor that will prescribe for him. My neurologist just laughs at me every time I ask him because he says it's not the big cure-all everybody says it is. And if you look at my son will never be a viable person. So long-term effects really don't matter because my son doesn't have a long-term life expectancy. So when I took him out of the hospital, I adopted him and I took him out of the hospital because I wanted him to be home. And I wanted him to have a good quality of life, not quantity, but quality. And I took him home, and you know, he's been home and he's been doing things that the doctors told me that he would never do. So I have learned as the mother of a disabled child that you don't listen to the doctors and you don't take their word for gospel. I had wanted to start my own business because I have a son that's handicapped, so I need to always make plans for the future as far as taking care of him. So when Ed Fortune had put out there that he was looking for business partners to open up a little cafe in Trenton, I was like, oh wow, that's great. So we went around and we looked for places, and we decided to get a place right across from City Hall down in Trenton, which is just awesome. So my friend Jenny Storms was actually very instrumental in helping me get money for the joint because she was an accountant before she became a nurse. So through like income tax returns and everything, I got some money, and we went and we started NJWEEDMAN'S joint. I haven't smoked weed for 26 years, but I did use cannabis when I was younger. I mean, for 10 years, I smoked every day. So, you know, I have nothing against it, but I really, you know, it really didn't have anything to do with me. And so, you know, when I met Jenny and I saw everything she went through, you know, at first I thought like, you know, it wasn't my fight because it really had nothing to do with me. I could care less. But then when I got more involved in it and saw, like I said, how it could really help people, it became my fight. And that's why I wanted to start that place with Ed, because when she had to leave the state of New Jersey, she had to take her child and, you know, her other daughter and herself and move somewhere where she knew nobody because the medical marijuana program in New Jersey is absolutely horrific. My mother is 83 years old. I have a son that's disabled and goes to a really good school. My girls are here. I have a house. I have a job. I mean, and why should I have to leave? I mean, New Jersey had a medical marijuana pass in, I guess, I don't know, 2010. And it just really is a terrible program. There's no incentive to be on it. You have to pay to be on it. You need a spot. You need a hub. You need a center, like I said, of activism and culture and education. because a lot of things were illegal. You know, just think 10 years ago what was illegal, and now it's not. You know, and just, you know, laws change as people change and people educate themselves. So I had wanted to start a monthly support group for medical marijuana patients. And I know it's hard because a lot of medical marijuana patients are sick, you know, and a support group for parents of, you know, kids that use cannabis. I mean, that was my vision for the joint, was to be the center for activism. You know, Anonymous, East Coast Cannabis Coalition, marijuana. I mean, if you're opposing or trying to change anything, you should be changing it at the joint. So it doesn't even have to be marijuana related. It just has to be, you have to be a visionary and an activist. And that's what we're trying to do. I mean, and I don't see anything wrong with it. You know, City of Trenton was nice to us and embraced us, and to see the community come in and like the young people have a place to go and to rap and to play music and to just have something positive in their lives, and to have the City of Trenton and the state of New Jersey turn that into something negative because they're advocates for cannabis. I was an oncology nurse for years, and pharmaceutical companies used to come in and they would court the doctors. They would take us to Pegasus, they would take us to, you know, the US Open, you would go here, the Knicks, the Nets, all these tickets, everything, basically to try to get the doctors to prescribe their drugs so they could make the money. New Jersey is like, I think, the, you know, international capital for pharmaceuticals. They're all here in New Jersey. They benefit from people being addicted to drugs and addicted to medications. And I'm not saying, I'm not a person that's going to say people don't need opioids, because they do. And I see now that the doctors are very hesitant to prescribe opioids, but people do need morphine, they need fentanyl, they need Percocet, they do need it, so you can't cut it off. But offer them an alternative. As far as medical marijuana for my son, I mean, I'm still going to pursue it, but I don't pursue it wholeheartedly, and I'll tell you why. Because all his medication is covered by Medicaid. And if I go to buy medical marijuana, it's not covered. So what's my incentive to even give it to him? So it's really, like I said, the program is set up to fail, but you have to be part of the program to not get arrested and go to prison to change it. And if I had to say something to Chris Christie, I would just tell him to just listen to what people have to say. If he knew the facts that marijuana is not a gateway drug, it's alcohol. I mean, alcohol is the first thing you drink as a kid, and then maybe you'll get some weed, and then you'll get some other drugs and everything else. I mean, and there's such a problem with opioid dependency and addiction, and by not prescribing opioids, that doesn't stop people from taking opioids. It makes them go to the street and buy heroin. That's all it does, and I see it all the time in Patterson. When you come to the realization that nobody cares about your child because their life doesn't matter because they're disabled and they're on Medicaid and they get a stipend check and they just cost the state of New Jersey too much money. So as far as I'm concerned, Chris Christie he would probably rather my son is dead or move out to Colorado. So that's why he doesn't help us at all. So, but we're going to sit there so he can ride down State Street and see us every day. So as far as the future of, I guess, marijuana and medical marijuana in New Jersey, I don't know. I mean, I hope, you know, New Jersey catches up with the rest of, like, the United States and, you know, decriminalizing, because there's just so much waste of funds and money. I mean, you put all these people in prison, and then you get arrested, you can't get a job, and there's so much money to be made. I mean, you know, legalize and regulate, just like with alcohol. Why not? I mean, I don't understand it. I need help, and I need people, like I said, that's why we have to have a hub and a center for activism, because myself, I have the joint. I need help with my son, and everybody needs to help each other. So I reach out to people, and, you know, hopefully my son will get the medication he needs someday. You know, laws aren't made to help people, and I might seem cynical, but like helmet laws aren't made to protect you so you don't hurt your head. Seatbelt laws aren't made to protect you so you don't get hurt in an accident. What they are is so the insurance company doesn't have to pay money if you survive one of these accidents. So if you die, nobody cares. But if you survive and the insurance has to pay for you, that's why they want you to wear a seatbelt or wear a helmet. So it's the same thing with, like, marijuana laws. The police need to be educated. There's another one. Trenton police don't even know that there's a medical marijuana program in the state of New Jersey. They don't even know that. Who educates the police? So I'll take it upon myself to educate the police. But I don't have anything against anybody. I think everybody just needs to be educated. And once you're educated, then you can really make a informed decision as to, whether weed is so evil or not. I mean, I'm going to be a little, the little thorn in the side of down there in Trenton, because I know Chris Christie has to see us. I mean, I know he talks about Ed on the TV and everything, but as far as that, they don't look past that it's just him. They don't see it's a whole movement and it's everybody. I mean, I had somebody hit me up on Facebook yesterday, some kid that his mother wants to come down and meet me down at the joint. I mean, like, everybody should be able to come down there. My mother, your mother, anybody's mother. I can't test positive for THC, so I don't smoke and I don't take any medication, but I can take any narcotic I want and come into work, and that's fine with them. So, and to all the parents out there that have, a child that's disabled, you can hit me up on Facebook. It's Debi Medeo, D-E-B-I, and then Medeo. You can also hit up on the joint page. We have messages. So, we could get together and start a support group down there and, try to help each other out as far as getting through a very difficult system to navigate through. And I've been in, the medical system since 1987, and like I said, this is just, it wasn't easy for me to do. And as far as I know, you can't overdose on cannabis unless you eat like a brownie and think like, oh my God, I had too much. But then you just sleep it off.